Hello, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Victor Valente Juarez Amaro. I'm 22 years old and I am a student at Benemérita Universidad Autónoma de Puebla of the Faculty of Languages in the English teaching degree. The project, and this is part also of my thesis project, is called Benefits of Using Third Place in the English Teaching in Public High School in Puebla, Mexico. My thesis director is Mario Alberto Gallardo Bonilla. So let's going to start with the presentation. In the first part, we have the introduction, and this is so important because here, Kani and Hajizade has said that English language teaching has undergone fundamental changes in the past few decades. And what does it mean? That English teaching has increased in Puebla and all the country of Mexico, but here, especially in Puebla, because I wanted to carry on this research, especially in my community. And these fundamental changes have to be with the strategies of teaching and, of course, the strategies of learning of the students. But we have that the new generations have other points of view regarding to the English language. It is not the same, the English language teaching from 20 years ago than from nowadays, and generations learn different. And this is so important because we as teachers have to know that students need new strategies, and they, with this new technology, perhaps some students want to learn from technology, and some students want to learn from different kinds of teaching. But we must be conscious that it is not the same way of teaching English than years ago. So teachers must adapt these new strategies for the new generations. And we have the problem. Here we have two problems, but the main problem is that the using of third place in the English language teaching has not been implemented at Colegio de Bachilleres del Estado de Puebla, Plantel 18, COBAE, in Santana, Xalmimilulco, Huejotzingo, Puebla. And I wanted to carry out this research in my community, Santana Xalmimilulco, because I thought it was a good idea to implement something new. Perhaps it is not the newer strategy, but this is new for the community and for the high school. Okay. Within the community is not common the art, and this is so a big problem because in this case the art is not very common. Theater plays can be informal for the English teachers or informal for some students. So and this is so worrying because art must be implemented in all the schools because it is so important in education. But also we have another problem that the classes are focused on the teaching of lot of grammar rules. Okay, and this is not something that I wanted to say about the English teachers, because we must know that it is so important, and this is necessary in the English classes to have classes of grammar, classes of reading, writing, everything, and this is so important. This is not something that I want to say that this is a problem, but what I want to say is that sometimes students need a little relax, and this is because I wanted to include the English teaching. The justification of my research is that students with this proposal that I wanted to include develop or improve new abilities because of the fact of acting, speak, listen, write, and read in the English. Students also take English classes as a guide for vocation. Those students who don't know what to study at university. And this is important because within the English theater classes, it is found that many things that can guide to students, because in the first part, languages, because the class is English, and if a student this language, English or another language, it is so important because we know that the English theater classes can help them to find their vocation. So the possible vocations within the English theater classes are languages, drama, of course, because classes are focused on theater, makeup when they want to have this profession when they are preparing before the presentation, fashion design with the instructors of the costumes, cinematography, and dance. All these possible vocations can guide to students to find their vocation. And this is so important because some students at high school don't know what they want to study. So this is a great justification for my research, and they take these English theater classes as guides. But what happened when this implementation within the English classroom has benefits for students? This is the main justification for the research, and this is what the title has: the benefits that theater have for students. And I was reading an article about these benefits. Of course, I want to implement it by myself because perhaps students have other kind of benefits, or perhaps they don't have the same benefits of the article. For that reason, I wanted to include it, and this is the main justification for my research. Students also use the English language in a real context because they speak, they act, and they can communicate their ideas in English in a real context, and they just not are preparing something that they are going to read it in front of a group, and they can use their own mind without anything prepared for presenting. And the last point is to demonstrate that theater as a strategy is helpful for the English teaching or the English learning. The objectives for my research, the main objective is present a didactic proposal to implement the theater plays and explain the benefits that they have. The general objective is explain the benefits of using theater plays at COBAE Plantel 18. The specific objectives are present a didactic proposal and implement the theater plays at COBAE Plantel 18. The third questions are: what is the didactic proposal that is useful to teach English through theater plays? How implement the theater plays in the English class? And what are the benefits of the using of theater plays for teenagers? We have three important analysis units. The first part talks about theater, the second one talks about language skills, and the third one talks about the critical pedagogy. This is the theory in which this study is based on, and we are going to see first the first part, theater. In first part, we have theater, in which it is explained what is theater, in which it is included the improvisational approach. This is a strategy that was implemented by a teacher, and she said us that there are many kind of approaches of improvisation for theater, and in this case I choose basic performance improvisation that carried on in the first class, but these strategies I'm going to explain it in a few moments. Improvisation games, also games of improvisation were implemented for students in these classrooms. In this case, I chose Word at the Same Story, and that I'm going to present in a few moments too. And human slideshows. In drama, it's presented the manner in which a play is conformed. For example, the plot, the climax, the rising action, and perhaps you are saying why this is important. And this is important because within the English theater classes that I implemented, we used it also, and I'm going to present it in a few moments too. The theater in English teaching in the world, and it is said that theater as an English method of teaching was created in the Great Britain in the 1960s. And this is so important because throughout these years, theater as a manner of education has increased, and theater in English teaching in Mexico. But I found something that is a little bad, because here in Mexico, theater is not recognized. Perhaps yes, but not so much as another other parts of the world. So theater in English teaching in Mexico is not to recognize it, and I thought this was a good opportunity to implement it and to start to be recognized as perhaps a proposal or a method or something that helped students and of course teachers that can have something new in the English teaching. Also, we have the language skills. And in the speaking skill, it is presented how implemented within the English theater class. For example, when students are going to present something, they must speak aloud. And this is an active productive skill according to Hussein, because students articulate their movements of the mouth. For that reason, it is considered an active productive skill. And the writing skill is also considered an active productive skill. And this is implemented when students must create a short story of a short dialogue or something more that has relation with theater. All the four languages skills are implemented, and all of them are so important within the English theater classes, because they help them the students not just to speak and listen, because in theater they are the most common language skills, but also writing and reading. And the listening skill, Hussein considered it as a passive skill. However, I thought it is also an active skill, because students not just hear what their classmates are saying, they also must listen. They pay attention what their classmates are saying. For that reason, I think this must be considered an active productive skill too. And reading skill that in this case, it is implemented when students must rehearse their lines, their dialogues, or must read a short story. All these language skills are so important, and they can be implemented within the English theater classes without problems. And the third part, we have the critical pedagogy. The critical pedagogy was created by Henry Giroux and Paulo Freire because they are considered the pioneers of the critical pedagogy. However, I'm going to talk about more Henry Giroux. Critical pedagogy was originated by the critical thinking in Frankfurt School in the 19th century. And Giroux and Paulo Freire said that teaching should challenge students to examine power structures and patterns of inequality. This is so important because critical pedagogy focuses more on students, because this is looking for that students realize that education is so important. They must realize about what are they learning. They must realize that the patterns of inequality, especially in Mexico, are so big, and they must do something more. And perhaps you're saying, what is the relation of critical pedagogy and theater and English? Of course, well, we have seen the relation of the English and theater, because both of them can be together in the English theater classes, but the critical pedagogy can be together too, because theater open the mind of the students. And the theater can do many things for students, because this is an art, and it is considered something that helps students. And critical pedagogy also helps students, also make them see beyond what teachers are saying. And in this part, Dr. Jeremy in 2021 defined critical pedagogy as a philosophy of education, which focuses on issues of inequality, social class, races, and genres. And this part of the research is so important because we have to see the relation between both the English teaching and the critical pedagogy. Both of them are related, because in theater, it is not important the social classes, races, and genres. In theater, it is not important the inequality. Otherwise, it is so important the equality of all the people. It is so important the communication, the participation, the humanization, because it is an art, and as part of the art, it must be so clear for students. And this is also characteristics of the critical pedagogy: participation. Students participate actively, and in theater, they must also participate actively, because they must be in constant participation when they want to say something, when they are going to act. Communication and humanization. Students communicate their ideas and feelings, but also students accept opinions and ideas with respect. So these characteristics of critical pedagogy are related and are perfectly considered within theater, because within theater, communication must be one of the most important characteristics of acting, because when students want to communicate something with the other students actors, and the other students actors must accept opinions, must accept new ideas. Perhaps they are not the same, but they must learn that all the opinions are acceptable. Perhaps they are not correct, but uh, they are going to be more human with their classmates, and they are not going to be rude. For that reason, it is so important the critical pedagogy within theater and transformations. Students transport their processes of learning, and also they realize what are they learning. Perhaps they are not conform what a teacher said, and they must be autonomous and transport their process of learning. Perhaps before they used to learn with just writing, but now they want to learn in a different way, perhaps not just writing, but also acting in this case, because this is the main part of the research. And the method was the qualitative, because this is so important, because we I wanted to intervene within the English classes, and the best method was action research. In this part of the characteristics of action research are participants examine their own educational practice. And if you see, it is the same thing. It is not the same, but have a relation to points of participants examine their own educational practice, and critical pedagogy also focuses on this part, that students start to think more, to be individual thinkers, to be more autonomous, and to be participatory and democratic, to be collaborative, to be socially responsive and reflexive critic. So they are going to say, what am I learning? Why am I learning these things? And why teacher wants that I act in front of an audience? So when they start to make these questions in their minds, they start to be reflexive critics. And this is so important because, as I said before, these characteristics also have relation with the characteristics of the critical pedagogy. For that reason, I think their critical pedagogy can be a good technique of a theory, for the theory of this research. Also because today we need to be more human with students, because we need to know that students and also we as a teachers have problems. Students also have worries about learning, and theater and critical pedagogy are going to help them to open their minds, to start to transform their processes of learning, and to start to be more human with their classmates. And we as a teachers, we must be also more human with students, because before it was used to think that teacher just I'm sorry, the teacher was the only one person that was right, and the students couldn't say anything. No, in critical pedagogy, students that are focuses on students, and students must be the main part of education. And the techniques that were used, there were 7 lessons plan that were 7 classes of the English theater class. As I said before, they were implemented at Cobae Plantel 18 in Santa Ana, Xalimilulco, that it is my community. And the technique series describes the manner in which each class was carried out. For example, the techniques that were used when students wanted to conform a team, and how the critical pedagogy was implemented within the English classes. The instrument that was used was a didactic proposal that is conformed by 7 lesson plan, 1 chronogram of the activities that it is shown, the hours, the name of the activities, and the days that were used for each activity. And at last, it was used also a theater play that it is named A Day for Snow by Elaine Gallagher. In participants, with all this problem of COVID, they were just 20 students, 11 female students and 9 male students. The students' age is from 15 to 17 years. The English level of students, according with the Common European Framework of Reference of Languages, is A2. And also, for that reason, I chose this theater place, because this theater place is for A2 level of the students. In the application, this didactic proposal took place during the month of October, taking into account what the first session started on Wednesday, October 13, and it ended on Wednesday, October 27 in 2021. This proposal took place 2 weeks, from 2 to 3 hours a week, on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, having a total of 7 sessions, as I said before. And this proposal carried out in the 3rd C group with duration of 1 hour per class. With all these new rules of COVID, it was not possible to be longer these sessions, but with these 7 sessions, I realized that they helped students. And it is something that I am working, and I am taking the analysis, I am writing conclusions. But this implementation were so fantastic for me and for students, because it is perhaps something short, but perhaps it helps students to take a break of all the grammar rules, and that, as I said, they are so important. But sometimes students need something that can relax their minds, that help them to be a little relaxed, and to have another point of view of education, and another kind of strategies of teaching. Well, this is all for my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention. I appreciate it, and thank you so much.